Hey, welcome back to the Lick of the Week videos. This is a continuing series that we started that I called Revisiting the Classics, where I'm basically just going back looking at some of these classic old tunes that we all know and love and throwing out some ideas for you. So I'm assuming that most people that watch these videos already know the tunes. If you don't, maybe this will spur you on to learn a good standard version of the tune. Maybe you can learn that version from mine. But it's mainly geared toward people that already play a standardized version of the tunes that we're covering, and hopefully giving you some ammunition to spice up your versions. This song I've chosen, I just went blank. Bill Cheatum, I'm sorry. It's early in the morning here. So Bill Cheatum is another great old standard fiddle tune, usually played in the key of A by banjo players. So I've capoed up. So this video we'll take a look at the A part. There's an A and a B part in Bill Cheatum. So let me give you a close-up here. What I'm going to do is play what I'll call just a standard Scruggs version. And again, Scruggs is great at implying melodies for fiddle tunes. And if you're an advanced Scruggs player, you can probably figure out how to play more melody than someone who's not that adept at Scruggs style. So instead of implying just hints of the melody here and there, you could actually play a lot more of it. But you have to work really hard to render a fiddle melody Scruggs style, and in some cases it's just about impossible to capture all the notes and keep that drive going. So what I'm going to do in this version of the A part of Bill Cheatum is just try to inject some new ideas, maybe new ways to express melody or to play more melody, but keep some of that Scruggs drive going. So I'll play what I call just a generic Scruggs version of the song. And again, these are just standard Scruggs rolls and a few push-offs and things to help maybe bring out some of the melody here and there. Now, immediately I would start to dissect it measure by measure. So I would take the first G section of the song, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So we've got one measure of A. And we're playing the melody like this in this standard version. One thing I could do immediately to keep some of that Scruggs drive is to not kick out all the rolls, but just change the syncopation of some of the things I'm playing. Most standard versions would have you do something like this: 4, pinch, 1 and 2. All that's open. And it tends to be really straight timing-wise. Like right with the beat, real metronomic. One thing you can do to spice up that is to syncopate it a little differently. Kind of like Earl does on the D chord section of John Hardy, where he syncopates it with a little bit of western swing feel. So instead of going thumb, pinch, pinch, I'm going to go thumb, pinch, and you can feel the difference in the way that feels against the beat. That's a little, you know, like an egg rolling downhill kind of feel. What about this? Instead of playing that alternating thumb roll with a push-off, let's try this. And what that is a dissonant note. The third string at 5 and the open second are a half step apart, so they have a little bit of that weird dissonance, which is usually bad if you play it too long. But if you just use it here or there, dissonance is actually a big part of Scruggs style, so it gives you just a little tension. What I'm going to do is insert it in this inside-out roll. 2, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4. So I'm going to start with the open second, fret the third string at 5, and play 2, 3, 2, 1 as an inside out roll. And then I'm going to go to the third string at 4, do a pull off, play the open second, and then wind up on the 4th string at 5, which in this case is a G note. If you stack a G note on top of an A chord, you get A dominant 7, so it's the 7th, A7, which gives tension, wants to pull you here, which is a C position, but this is actually a D major chord. So going from A to A7 gives you tension and pulls you along, so it helps propel the melody and keeps the drive going and lets you hear where the change is coming up. So here's our new section, and I think I'll even zoom in a little closer if I can. Now, what about this C chord section? It's not actually a C chord, it's actually a C position. It's a D major, D as in David. So what can I do differently instead of just rolling this? This was the generic version we played. Which again is just scrolling ideas that just scroll in and out of that C position. I want to capture a little more of the melody. I would move part of this to a melodic section. So I've got 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So I've got a measure of that D chord to play. Why don't I split that in half and play a couple of beats here? 1 and a 2 and a 3, 3 and a 4 and that will cover this D. What am I doing substitution wise? I'm going to keep part of the Scruggs roll and then switch to this D as in David melodic scale pattern. 3 at 7, open first, second string at 7, first string at 6, fifth string open, second string at 7, open first, third string at 7, and then when I hit the open B string, I'm actually back to an A chord. So I have this. So as soon as you hear that open B string at the end of that passage, you're back to A. So let me put that all together and we'll have this revamped, spiced up version of the A part. The new D chord section. Now we're back to A, and this measure of A is the same as the first one. Now we reach what's called the turnaround section of the song, where we're going to have 2 beats of D and then quick E chord, E as in Edward, and then back to G. So altogether we have 2, 1, and 1, which equals 4 beats. So the last measure of the A part is a turnaround. 2 beats of D, 1 beat of E, and then 1 beat of G. And then there's a filler section there about a measure long where you just kind of generically roll around. And then you're ready to repeat the A part. So I'm going to put all this together and we'll have our new version of the A part. And now I skipped over something. What are we going to do for that? What are we going to do for that generic E chord section? Now, I forgot to even show you that. Well, let's talk about it. What can I do there besides like do a Scruggs roll there? Well, I could substitute part of an A scale over that. Since it's a turnaround and it's D, E, A, and it's 2, 1, and 1, which is a measure, how about just substituting part of that for this? And again, this is a descending A scale fragment. 1 open, third string at 7, open second, fourth string at 9, open third. And those are some of the notes out of an A scale going this direction. Now if I add that together, I'll have a complete A part. Speed. So that should help spice up this low version of the A part. What about up the neck break? Now this is something, most players when they're at early intermediate stage of playing, they tend to want to go up the neck and try up the neck breaks. And most people associate Bill Cheatum up the neck as being the B part. because you'll go up above the 5th fret. I'm going to play, and for this video, to wrap it up, I'm going to play an up the neck version. Now I'll play something that I'll call just a generic Scruggs version. Let's see if I can adjust the camera so I can, oops, wrong way, stay a little bit better into the shot here. There we go. So I'm going to use the standard, here's my A major chord using the Sally Gooden Cumberland Gap position. Then I'm going to use part of the D chord, maybe part of the E chord, and just try to capture hints of the melody here and there. And again, that works pretty well. And it has hints of the melody here and there. You could probably tell if you're familiar with Bill Cheatum that that was the A part of Bill Cheatum. Nothing wrong with that. And it does have drive. But let's see if we can spice that up and try to capture a little more melody. I'm going to take a page out of Alan Mundy's book. Alan's one of the greatest melodic players ever. And steal some of his ideas and see if we can morph this into something that's a little more closely related to melody, but still has some drive. So I'm going to use the whole A chord here. This is a D-shaped version. And I'm going to wrap my thumb around so that I catch the 5th string at 9, which will give me an A6 chord, which is kind of a sweet sounding chord. And what I'm going to do is this roll. 3, 2, 1, 5, 1. Then I'm going to switch from the chord into this melodic fragment, which is what you would use to play Blackberry Blossom in the key of G. If I didn't have my capo on right now, that would be where I would start the A part of Blackberry Blossom. So if you've played any melodic versions of Blackberry Blossom before, you're familiar with this position. So we're just taking this A chord, and we're basically just morphing it into this melodic fragment. Now, from here, I'm going to play 2, 1, 5, but you notice I'm reaching over with my ring finger, and I'm catching the 5th string at 11. So the roll pattern is 2, 1, 5, 1, 2. Now, when I go to 5 again and play 5, 1, 2, I'm moving from 11 to 10. So you notice I'm using my thumb for that. If you come up something fingering wise that works better for you, go ahead and do it. But this is what I'm going to choose. So I have this 3, 2, 1, 5, 1 melodic position. 2, 1, 5, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 5, and then this time 5 is going to be open. Now, when the D chord comes up, instead of using this, I'm going to go all the way up here to my D at 14 and 16 and do the exact same pattern that I did for D, but now it's going to be, D, now it's going to be this version. Same position that I used before. Instead of A, I'm going to slide up here to D and use the exact same fingering. And it gets a little easier here because the frets are closer together, so you don't have to stretch your thumb quite as much. Now we repeat the A measure. And then we'll go to D again, but instead of playing this for D, I'm just going to go back to a Scruggs version. And then to end it, I'm going to take the Blackberry Blossom position for A, move it up 2 frets, which is actually B, but if I play this partial B fragment over this D chord, listen what happens. So it's basically these two notes from 9 and 10 moved up to 11 and 12. First string 11, second string 12. And I'm going to play this. 1, 2, take my ring finger and play the 3rd string at 13. And then play the 2nd string at 12, open 5th. So the pattern is 1, 2, 3, 2, 5, open. And if you're not very fluent with melodic patterns up the neck, then this will be new territory, which is good. You know, it'll challenge you. And you have to get used to switching these fingerings around. If you're a hardcore Scruggs player, you might find some of this pretty intimidating or challenging at first. But again, it would be a good idea if you wanted to play more of these melodic ideas to go back and play some melodic scales, like playing an A scale, a D scale, an E scale, use a capo, and get used to how those scale patterns feel on the fingerboard, and you'll be able to play that. So here's our new up the neck version of the A part of Bill Cheatum. So there you go. That'll give you something to chew on, so they say. And hopefully, if you haven't learned Bill Cheatum, this could spur you on to want to learn the song, because it's a great tune. Or if you're already playing a version like we talked about before, it's just kind of blah and you're using more Scruggs ideas and you want to jazz it up, hopefully these ideas will give you something more to work on. Helps you to establish a little more melody, be creative, but keep the drive going. So I appreciate it, and next video we'll look at the B part of Bill Cheatum. I'll see you next time.